Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my final review for Season 7 of Game of Thrones. This is for the Season 7 finale, The Dragon and the Wolf. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen this episode yet, you definitely want to watch it before you watch this review. So I thought this episode was just amazing all around. I mean, for a season finale, this is exactly what you want. It was an extended episode, our longest episode we've had, and it was just, oh man, really, really amazing. So the ending, of course, they always leave us with a pretty good scene at the end of each Game of Thrones season. This one definitely did not let us down, as we see the White Walkers pass, spoiler warning, pass the wall with the Bone Dragon, blowing, I suppose, blue flame that I assume is hotter than the red fire, the red usual fire, because as you get closer to white, so you go like red, and then blue is hotter, and then you can go the closer you get to white hot is pretty much the hottest. Man, that was just really cool to see him just burn down the wall and them just kind of walk through. And also, of course, really worried about Tormund, Tormund and Beric. Are they okay? Did they fall? What happened to them? Not quite sure 100%. But man, that was just like it was like the perfect sequence, I want to say, to end off this season with. It gives us 100% confirmation that Jon is the true heir. So as we've discussed in videos leading up to this finale, we also get, I guess, to see. We already kind of knew this anyway. You could put these, dots together if you've been watching the season, paying close attention. But they kind of show it to us right away that Jon is actually not, and he's not a Sand either. He's not a bastard at all. He's actually just a Targaryen, because they actually did get married. So I really liked kind of just the flow of the ending was just like perfect. You get great revelation. You finally get to see kind of the fangirl moment, or it was great. You don't have to be just a girl to like the romance aspect of it. Game of Thrones, of course, a series that has a lot of different genres. Got the fantasy. Peter Dinklage has said that he thinks it's more of a drama. If you've seen some interviews with him, human drama, he views the series at. You've got the mystical elements in it that they've kind of brought in more as the series goes on. You have the action, moments where you have the big action episodes, but you also have the romance stuff in this one too, which I liked a lot, man. I really like to see. Daenerys and Jon finally, to consummate their marriage. They're not married, but get together, finally get together. And, as we suspected, Emilia Clarke's not doing any more nude scenes, or at least that's the closest that they're probably going to show us to it. But for the girls, you get to see Kit Harington, right? So I'm sure the girls like that. I just really like the scene. I especially liked it when he kind of just opens the door and Tyrion is left there with his hand, right? I feel sorry for Tyrion sometimes, but it was a really great setup, because they kind of alluded to it before, where Jorah is kind of blocking it, right? Jorah's like, well, she should go by herself, she should go by herself there because it's safer this way, and yada, yada. And then Jon brings it up that the Northerners, they need to see us together, that kind of thing, and she goes with it, and Jorah's like, oh, fuck. It's too late. So, and there was so many things. I'm not going to be able to mention them all in this review, and that's what we do the Q&A videos for. There's so many things that I just want to say about all these different scenes. This was just so masterfully done, and man, that final, outro sequence of the episode was just fantastic. Some other big things that happened in this one, for sure, was to finally get to see Jaime take a turn, because a lot of us have liked Jaime from, maybe the second season onward, I want to say. I've kind of at the beginning, Jaime starts off as a solid 100% villain. He pushes Bran out the, out the castle window. He goes down, and that's when Bran, becomes a cripple. When he cripples him, breaking his spine. So he starts out 100% as a villain, but as the series go through, we get to kind of identify a little bit more with Jaime. And in this episode right here, I feel like this is the one where we get to see kind of the final split between him and Cersei, with a very exciting scene to the point where she is about to tell Gregor to kill him, and then he calls her on her bluff, taking a chance with this one. Some people have even called in a question, maybe that's a topic for a video, is Cersei really even pregnant, or is she faking it? A lot of people think she's faking it. So that's something we can touch on later. But, she kind of, I would want to say she's been using that to her advantage so far. She's been using that to manipulate others. And she learned a lot from Tywin. She learned a lot from him. And the things that he's taught her have really, I want to say, kept her alive, kept her around in, the rat's nest there at King's Landing when, everything is going crazy, people are backstabbing the hell out of each other, and just to maneuver that land. So she can't take that out of herself. That's part of her, in this case, she's got a whole plot set up here. Euron kind of acts out with Theon there. It's a nice angle. He kind of puts that out there, and then she's like, bring it back, that kind of thing, draw it back, that kind of deal. But of course, when he says to the others, they fully believe it, that she can't really control him. And it just, the angle works perfect. He kind of marches off to say, okay, well, can they swim? No, okay, I'm out of here. See you guys later. Which I bought into too. I thought he was serious because, that's what it is. But Cersei is that intimidating, and she is that fearsome. Nobody walks away from her. So Jaime does in this one. He takes a turn for the good side, I want to say, and he does turn against her in this one. He leaves. He walks away from her. Which, man, I really love that. We also got confirmation, was another fan theory, that Cersei is going to hire the gold company. So we'll save that more for a predictions video, what that means and what that entails. Basically, I would say it's probably most similar to Stannis, when Stannis basically hires an army. He goes to Bravos, he takes out all the gold guys, remember this? Hires an army and is able to defeat Mance Rayder with a loaned army. It's not even really his army. That said, we saw the downsides of that too, because they're not loyal to you. But I'm going with this one just to say I love what they did with Jaime in this one, because ultimately I don't want to see Jaime be killed in the end. I want to see Jaime be one of the characters that does survive the Game of Thrones. I want to see him survive to the end. At some point, though, he's got to turn on Cersei. Cersei, I don't think, can make it out of this one alive. With this decision that she makes here in this episode, not helping the others, telling them she will, but then turning against them, and with this one here, there's no coming back from that. After, in the final season, as this thing goes down to the end, in the final epic as hell, 6 episodes we're going to get next year, I do not see her surviving this series. And Jaime doing that, I think, puts us in a better spot where he has more likely chance to survive and do the right thing, and kind of in the end be a good guy. I want to say, in the end, go from where he was at earlier to where he is now, full on villain in the first season, fighting Ned and all the other stuff, to redeeming himself. I want to say in the eyes of the audience, or most of the audience and the fans, and turning against Cersei when it matters most for everybody. And I won't be able to give my thoughts on absolutely all of the different great meetup scenes in this one, because there were so many near the beginning when you saw certain characters meet that hadn't seen each other for a very long time, thanks to kind of the fast pacing in this one and not having to see characters travel half the episodes. Getting to see the Clegane brothers sort of meet again, and see if, like the Hound seeing if the Mountain would recognize him, see if Gregor would recognize him. We get to see in his eyes, maybe the most direct eyes we've been able to see from Gregor, that he is, pretty zombified. He's half out of it, and the Hound thinks he does recognize him, and it seems like, okay, maybe he does, maybe there's something in there where he still sees him, still sees who he is. But that was there were some really good ones. That was a really cool meetup. Of course, you got to have the Hound's great lines, right? Fuck off. Love that. Anything happens to kill you first, right? Am I gonna die in this fucking city? He's got some of the best singers in the whole series, right? I'm gonna eat every fucking chicken in this room. He's got some of the best ones. Getting to see Brienne again this episode and that. So I loved, I love what they've done with the Hound in the series as well too. He's another character. Starts off hardcore bad guy like Jaime, and now at this point in the series has really, become a fan favorite for sure. I mean, no question about that. So that was a really good one. Tyrion had some amazing ones, and that's one that we definitely got to go through, because he gets to see Pod again. Some of the others here as well too. Bronn, of course, and their allegiance talk and that kind of thing. He'll double it, right? So there's that. Just some really fun, little lines that they say to each other, and things that relate back to earlier stuff that happened in the series. That was really cool. And then to get to see him sit down with Cersei. was a special one as well too, because of course, even though obviously the two of them do not get along at all, getting to see them kind of sit down like that, and instead of Tywin being in that seat, now it's Cersei. So that was really cool, and just to get to see all of that. Tyrion taking a chance with this one, putting his neck out for everybody, feeling a little bit of guilt for the things he's done, increasing the his masochism to the point where if she does kill him, he's okay with it. But then making, I want to say, some progress as a result of it, because at least with that, he was able to create a divide between her and Jaime, and we'll have to see what comes of that. We'll have to see if Jaime tells the others, I assume he will, that Cersei is not going to hold up her end of the bargain, and that's probably why he's kind of ran off, in a shroud of darkness, so to speak, so that she isn't able to find him and stop him before he tells them what she's planning and what she's going to do. And I think you really get an understanding with this one. It'll be the same with next season too. Some people, myself included, really questioning why are they only doing 6 or 7 episodes for these last 2 seasons. I think it's pretty obvious when you watch this episode. This episode was an expensive episode to make, as was last episode. But I'm assuming they're going to do probably 6 episodes for the final season, season 8, because of the cost, probably, because of how they want to use the budget for the season. They can stretch it out to 10 seasons, but they probably can't do it without having a whole bunch of scenes where people are traveling and stuff like that. This way, they get to do the big CG sequences, they get to do them all, they get to use all that budget, and that's as many episodes as they can afford when they're showing us CG dragons all over the place, CG bone dragons, shooting blue flame, White Walkers all over the place, the monsters, as Cersei says. When they show us that kind of stuff, maybe Golden Company next year, that's going to be expensive. It's going to be really expensive to show that kind of stuff, and so, I think that's the most logical explanation for why they're not doing 10-episode seasons, is because they really can't afford to if they want to do these episodes honestly, in the way that they have been doing it this season. Just some huge and amazing stuff with the CG and everything that obviously is very expensive for sure. So let's go over scene by scene. Let's give our thoughts and break down each of these. We start off with the epic view at the beginning of the episode of Grey Worm. We get to see the Unsullied. We get some talk from Bronn and Jaime about not having a cock, which is funny. Gold, not without a cock, right? As Bronn points out, not Bran, Bronn points out that most men spend their gold on what's the point in gold without a cock, right? So, it was just some funny stuff. Just really joke funny stuff. The Dothraki screamers roll in, which was really cool. We get to see the ships, a million, live in King's Landing, so that was cool to kind of find that out. We've got the Hound with his great scenes that I mentioned. Cersei, Gregor, Bronn, the Hound, Tyrion, the Allegiance talk and that kind of thing. Good to see each other, that kind of deal. Then we get the arena. So we get to see the really cool arena there. And Cersei, Euron, Theon, of course, the scene between Euron and Theon and what started with that. And I really love the scene later on where you have him talking with Jon, and Jon's like, "Why are you even still here? Go!" You know what I mean? Like, you need to be talking to me. Go, right? So the influence that Jon has, leading by example, has turned Theon back into, I guess, the courageous Theon. I love it when he gets kneed in the nuts and doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. Nothing there, man. Nothing there. So that was a good fight. I like to see that. That was a really cool one. As Theon goes to rescue Yaara, or try to, because of course, and that's something that I had forgot earlier on in the series, was that she put her neck out against Ramsay to rescue him with the dogs and everything. And in this case, he owes her it. He's got to do the same thing, right? Is what it is. So there's that. The Mountain and the Hound face off, awesome. The Dragon Landing. So that was a sick entrance when she just lands and the others see her and everything, and they're like, "Oh my goodness." You've got so the Queen. My apologies, right? Her being late or whatever. Cersei just being a bitch as usual, right? Euron being crazy, which was funny, and then the Hound I like how the Hound carried out the White Walker, the undead. That was cool. Then we've got Jon Snow, so the only war that matters, 100,000. So we got a count of approximately 100,000, of the dead marching towards Winterfell now at this point through the wall. And it was really cool to get to see at the end that we got to see some of the giants that they have mixed in, some undead horses and things like this that they have. So very impressive, very cool stuff. The mention of the swimming, whether or not they can swim, the truce. Jon will not agree not to, or Jon will not agree to stay out of it after this is all done between Daenerys and Cersei. So there's that, but also because he does that, he kind of pledges his allegiance to her even more so. And, I want to say that it strengthens their relationship. So it ends up being, for us, I guess, as fans, a good thing after all, and for them as well, too. Probably going to be a good, joint allegiance there as well, too, between the two of them. So we've got the Tyrion calling him out for just not lying. It's like so much easier to just lie. But at the same time, too, even if he did do that, Cersei's going to lie. Cersei's going to lie back. So, as we get to see now, even if he had done that, it's likely Cersei would just be lying anyway. It wouldn't matter, right? So then we've got, Tyrion go to talk, and then the pouring the wine. I like that too, because you guys remember with Joffrey and that kind of deal. So, and then hope for something. Cersei rubbing her stomach, possibly being pregnant, which again, that's debated right now. Maybe that's a topic for a video. Is she really pregnant? With her, I mean, how could you, that's like impossible to predict. She could be lying about the whole thing, and that would totally be, in the dark, as she kept Jaime in the dark with her negotiations with Euron, right? So she plotted with Euron, keeping him out of it. So definitely he's feeling left out. And he's probably feeling like at that point, she's going to go with Euron, which is what I've said in my videos earlier in the Q&A we did, is that, if Cersei has to choose between Jaime and Euron, she's probably just going to pick whoever's stronger, whoever is more useful to her, she's going to go with. And she's already got the Lannister army without Jaime even really leading it. So he's something, but, the fleet is impressive. We got to see how impressive it really is, Euron's fleet in this one. So we've got Tyrion who comes back. I will march them north. Sansa, then we go to the north. So the stuff in the north with Sansa, which we have not mentioned yet. Sansa, Littlefinger. I really like this one. It was spoiled for me. I'll tell you the truth. It was spoiled for me in a comment. I thought it was bullshit. I didn't think they were going to kill off Littlefinger, but they did. But I loved it, and I loved it a lot. Not because of the plotting between Littlefinger and Sansa and Arya and what happened with that and the note and everything like that. I loved it because Bran is there, and so he can just tell them, "Hey, I seen all this. This is what happened. He betrayed Eddard. This is the deal." I did warn you not to trust me. I love that. That revelation right there, that they know that he's not going to be able to keep those kind of secrets from Bran because he has that information, because he, is able to see just about anything he wants to. Because he's able to do that, they realize that Baelish really does create chaos. So there's so many conspiracy theories like this, right? So it creates chaos. And then, chaos being a ladder creates the shuffle and the breakdown, and then ascends because of it, right? Rises up because of it, because it creates opportunity, right? So, yeah, so I really love this, this death for Baelish, and it was a huge death for this season. He was a huge character all the way through the series. As Vera said, maybe one of the scariest people in all of, Westeros because of his abilities and what he's able to do and to create and to turn people against each other. And his actions really, in the beginning, causing most of the events, if not all the events, all through the beginning, all kind of stem from him. What happened with Liza Arryn and the Moon Door and everything like that. So I really like this one. I also liked because Royce never liked him at all, right? So when he asked for help, when Baelish turns to him, he's like, I remember when he called him, you little worm, right? So that was good stuff. So I like that a lot. Because, people get wised up to it and who he is and his reputation and what he's about. And then in this one, they finally have some downtime to really analyze that. They have Bran who can tell them the truth about all these things that happened. And now he's even trying it again with Sansa and Arya. And they might have let it go, but the fact that he hasn't changed at all and he's still doing the same stuff that he did earlier, and just how dangerous he is, having him on your side or against you, was really great. But I do think Sansa learned a lot from him. However, also, just to understand her enemy a little bit more. If she faces Cersei or she faces some of these people, because she knew Littlefinger, because she got to see his side of things, it's really gonna help her strategically, I think, in matching against some of these other people that are very strategic, like Littlefinger is. So I liked all of that. I thought it was a good death for him, pretty much perfect death. It was exciting. I like to see that it was Arya, the one who executed him, Sansa delivering the sentence and everything, and it just really felt fitting to have something that went back to the very first season. And there's lots of things in this episode you can point to, and if you want to, you can write a comment below, maybe what your favorite one was in this episode that pointed back to something, referenced back to something that was in the earlier seasons, because there's a lot of them, a lot of lines and everything, so really great stuff. So I like to see that. I like Littlefinger's kind of reasoning and brainstorming, and then matching it. That's an interesting way. I never really thought about it that way, to come up with a strategy and then look at their actions and see which one fits best with the underlying strategy that they're going with. That's kind of cool. So chaos being a ladder and everything like that. And then Jon Snow, he's a part of you. And then let's see, we've got why are you still talking to me? The scene with Theon. We've got him going after Yaara, and then Arya asking, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And it was a great twist in old school Game of Thrones fashion. Even though it's in the north, so it's not as bright and shiny as as you used to seeing. And this is wintertime, but it was cool when there's a nice twist, and she calls out Baelish instead of Arya, right? So he thinks he's got her manipped, right? And then he finds out that no, actually it's being reversed. And he should have been smarter than that, because of course they are sisters. And I didn't really like it anyway, but now that we got to see the resolution of that, I really like what they did with it. And I felt like it was a damn perfect build-up to see things twist back on Baelish, and for a change, right? Because he's always the one that benefits from this kind of stuff and is involved with these kind of coups and things like this. It's great to see the opposite and have him be the one who's surprised for a change, and the dagger and everything like that. Just how they handled it was just goddamn perfect. I loved when Bran said the line, "I did warn you not to trust me," and everything. It was just, oh man, it was amazing. So really cool stuff. So I love that one. I love what they did there in the north. We've got Cersei confirming that it was a lie, in fact, and telling Jaime that he's going to stay and that they're going to stay there. The child, and then Jaime saying, either way, however it goes, if the dead win, they're going to march here and kill us all, and they won't have a chance. And I think Jaime really sees, because he got to see it firsthand on the battlefield, what this is like. Granted, the Golden Company are going to be the best mercenaries you can buy for sure. Elephants and the whole bit is really cool. You can look up some pictures online if you want to. I'm excited to see them. That's going to be great. And also to see who's going to be the final villain. I guess Cersei. I guess the Night's King is kind of like I always thought he would be the final end-all villain. But it looks like for Game of Thrones, maybe that's not the case. We'll see next season. Maybe they defeat the Night's King, the White Walkers, and then they face the Golden Company and Cersei. But you never know with this series. You have to see what twists and turns there are and how that's going to go. Either way, really great stuff, and I liked that Jaime turned on Cersei in this one and kind of joined the good guys. Yeah, it's awesome, man, for sure. Only that, where's Bronn at right now? That's one question. Is like, if Jaime's gone, Bronn's still there. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if he slipped out too or something. Then we've got, let's see, we've got just the meeting between Sam and Bran. That was also cool too. I liked when he said it, like, I don't know what that means, right? I don't know what that means. I don't get it. So that was kind of cool. And then we've got Jon being a Targaryen, and then we just have that goddamn epic finale. Oh, we got to see the wedding too flashback, which was a great clip to see. And his name, Aegon, right? I doubt they're going to use that, though, to be honest. I really doubt they're going to use it. And then we see him banging his aunt right after. So that's what it is. Confirmation that she's his aunt while he's banging her. So it's, Game of Thrones. This is Game of Thrones. This stuff happens in Game of Thrones, okay? It's normal for Game of Thrones. And then the words, Lone Wolf dies, but the pack survives. Very cool. They both say they miss him. And then we've got the wall and the epic, oh shit, they're finally here. It took like 7 full seasons. It's the season 7 finale. We're going to season 8. And they finally got here. Goddamn, zombies are slow, aren't they? So that's it. That's a perfect finale. I mean, that is a 10 out of 10. That's a perfect finale that gives you everything you want and more in a season that didn't have a lot of fluff. It didn't have a lot of slowdown. It was well delivered. They could have done 10, but they decided to go for a high impact 7, give us all the great shots and everything like that. solidifying this as probably, if you like this genre, I want to say the best done series of all time. Even when we have faults with it, we're like, well, the pacing's too fast, this kind of thing. And then you see this and you're like, never mind. It's cool because it all just works out to fit like a glove so well in the end. And, that leaves us with one season left. Man, I just, this series is going to go down as pretty much like that's how it's done. Like here was the bar before, now the bar's up here. Who can touch that? I don't know if anybody will with any series after. It's just amazing, man. I mean, that's what I want to say. It's a review, right? So I recap it, but now we just kind of say what we think. It was amazing. It was a goddamn amazing achievement for HBO to do this series after 7 seasons. I can just say these last few seasons, I mean, mind-blowing, awesome, better than any movie I think I've ever seen. Yeah, I'll say that, better than any movie I've ever seen. And just, so epic with all the builds, every character getting their own storylines, even Theon and characters like this, getting their own, of course, Jon and Tyrion kind of being, at least at a part, it seemed like the hero of the story because he goes and gets Cersei, and Cersei's like, okay, we'll do it. And then, nothing's that simple. So, lots of twists and turns. So, let me know what you guys thought about this finale, man. I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. I'm going to do lots of videos about this one, feeling really, really charged about Game of Thrones. Really sad that it's ending, but really happy that they're bringing us that incredible quality. They're tying up some loose ends, like Baelish. What was going to happen with him, right? Is he going to survive the series? Don't think so. Finally, retribution for Eddard in that way. And, really happy for the future of the show and how this is going to end with Jon and Daenerys being together. It's just really great stuff. And that's a power couple for sure. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode, the finale. And I'll be back in 1 hour for a predictions video of what I think is going to happen in the final season. That's season 8 of the show. This video, if you liked it, you got to do it. Thumb it up below. I appreciate all of your guys' support. Thanks for sticking with me all these years. Been reviewing Game of Thrones since season 2. People who don't know that think I just Walking Dead, whatever. No, I've been reviewing Game of Thrones since the 2nd season. Once I heard about it after the 1st season, about how great it is. And I'm certainly glad I checked it out, man. Amazing show. So, thumb up the video, check out the channel if you're new, and subscribe for my last season of reviews for Game of Thrones next year, and all the videos we're going to do, the next few weeks for Game of Thrones, after that incredible finale. Predictions, all that good stuff, Q&As. Send me your questions, guys. Let's hear what you want to talk about, and that's it for this one. I'll see you guys again in about an hour for the predictions video. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace. What an awesome episode. See you guys.